Go for it.
You good?
Hit it, Johnny. Go for it.
All right. Good morning. Good Friday morning. Today is May 26th. Welcome everybody who's tuned in, who's here at the terminal, who's in Pittston, who's in Salt Lake City to kick off Memorial Day weekend. My name is John Harden. I'm in the safety department. This is Dave White. He's also in the safety department. Good morning, Dave.
Morning, John. How you doing, man?
Doing great.
Beautiful weather coming up to a 3-day weekend for some of us. Not for our drivers necessarily, but for our in-house people.
Very nice outside today.
Beautiful weather, definitely.
So the safety department is located over here on the far south side, the Z building right next to Success Leasing. Everybody probably knows where Success Leasing is. If you guys are ever here on the terminal, ever have any questions for us, come by, say hi. We will be happy to answer them for you. If we can't answer them, we will definitely find somebody that can answer them. So, first and foremost, I see everybody's out here enjoying breakfast. I know I did before we got up here. So let's all take a minute to thank John and his crew here in Prime and everybody else out there in Salt Lake and Pittston real quick. So they work hard and they do a good job over there.
It is. Speaking of John Blanton, I got to put a little plug in there. If you haven't listened to the first podcast, it's at Prime Ways, I think it is out there, and you can get it on. I got it on Apple on my phone, but listen to those because John is a unique story and is, he's in charge of all of our food and catering for the whole company. Oasis, Fire and Ice here, all the cafeterias in Pittston, Salt Lake too as well, and really interesting story he brings to the table. So yeah, if you get a chance, make sure take a look, listen to that. It's pretty interesting.
Absolutely. And that is out. We were going to mention that this morning. So thank you for that. So, I see a few yellow vests here. So we like to take time at the beginning of the meeting to welcome anybody who's a new associate here at Prime. So if this is your first week at Prime, or whether you're coming in as a student, an A seat, whatever the case may be, please stand up and let us recognize you and welcome you to the Prime family. Outstanding. So hopefully you had some folks up there. We're going to go out east to Pittston here this morning first. So Rick, are you out there?
Hey, good morning. How y'all doing? Fabulous week we had this week. Some nice weather, and we had about 20 students through class. We had a great week.
Outstanding. I see some yellow vests up there, so that's outstanding right there.
Yeah, we do have a couple yellow vests in here. We have a few more that unfortunately are on the training pad doing some work down there, doing some pre-trips and working on getting that CDL license.
Well, good deal. Well, hopefully they get in there and get some breakfast while they're out there working on that. So what else is doing Pittston this week?
Like I said earlier, we had some great weather this week. It's been really nice, roughly about 65, 70 degrees, nice sleeping weather. Next week, we're looking at some high 80s, get that pool water warmed up and get ready to go swimming.
Yeah, all the pools are opening around here as well. So
they're opening up. And then next week, Rick, I think you're coming down here, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll be down there. I'll be down on Monday and go through the week with you guys down there, or at least a couple of you. There's some of you guys are going to be out, but yeah, I'll be down there.
Looking forward to it, man. That'd be a good time. It's always nice to get Rick down here, and I think next Friday, I think you're up to do the meeting here. You'll be standing right where we're at. So hopefully you got somebody to cover for you up in Pittston.
Yeah, we got Shelly. Shelly be here. She'll be on the mic, and we can talk to Shelly. But yeah, I think John and I will be doing the meeting next week, and yeah, that'd be nice.
That's right. I think everyone else is leaving us next Friday, so just me and you down here.
Well, that's all right. I think we can handle it. I'll leave you to turn the lights off when we're done.
All right, that sounds good. Well, if anybody has any questions or comments or concerns, please get a microphone in front of them and hop in at any time. So let's go out west to Salt Lake City. Aaron, are you out there this morning?
Hi, good morning. We're having some volume issues out here, so we can't really hear you very well, but hopefully you can hear us.
We can.
Okay, good. Everything's going well out in Salt Lake City. Snow continues to melt up in the mountains, causing a little bit of issues here and there. We're getting ready for the truck driving championship. That's going to be here next weekend. We're putting the final touches on that, and that's going to be a good event. That'll be all day next Saturday. And then everything else is going well.
Outstanding. It sounds like you've got a big crowd there this morning with you, or you're pumping in some crowd noise.
We do. We do have a good crowd here this morning. We've got people coming in, working on getting their CDLs. We've got my man Caesar right here eating breakfast. He's a new student this week. And then I've got a special guest with me. I've got Matt Judy here. He is our fitness trainer here in Salt Lake City. He's going to speak for just 1 second.
All right, guys. So my name's Matt Judy. I've been with Prime about 2.5 years now. So I'm the personal trainer and the DHF liaison for Salt Lake City. I'm going to quickly just kind of go over what we can provide for you. So we do have a website first and foremost. That is probably the biggest asset that you guys have available to you. There are ready-made programs. You got contacts for all your personal trainers and registered dietitians. It's a great resource to use. We built everything around the truckers and your ability to do things on or off a truck. We wanted to make sure that we gave you a product that you can use anywhere and whenever you need it to be. A little bit of what I do personally here. So I do mostly personal training, but I do work with quite a few drivers in writing personalized workouts for them. So if you happen to have gear or something specific that you need to work on, or maybe an injury that needs to be worked around that our programs don't already do for you, myself or Maria out in Pittston can work with you and build programs to better suit you and maybe your individual needs as drivers as they come along.
Outstanding. Does anybody have any questions for Matt while he's got the microphone? Here in Springfield or there in Salt Lake or Pittston? Okay, so what was your background before you came? Go ahead, sorry.
Hey, Matt, what was your background prior to coming to Prime? I don't think
they can hear
I
us.
think you
So
can hear us now.
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
That's okay. All right.
we'll move on.
Let's move on.
All
That's
right.
right.
So let's talk a little bit about safety this morning while we all showed up, right? So going to go through some inspections this morning. Last week, we had the blitz, so we had a few more inspections than normal. We had 167 total inspections. 111 of those were clean, so that's a 67% pass rate, so give yourselves a hand for that. Good job. You know, I didn't go through these this week, but I didn't hear a lot last week during the blitz, a lot of major issues out there from our drivers.
No, I've seen a few more, and I see the inspections come in every day through the TP, through the portal, and we get to look at those and seen a little bit of uptick in the brakes, but we're kind of expecting that because that's what DOT is looking for. They're pulling in, looking for ABS lights being out and are being on, the ABS system not working. Of course, that happens. Then they're going to look at brakes. You already got a write-up going. And so we've seen an uptick in that, of course, but other than that, I think we did pretty well overall. It's obviously, 67% is nothing to laugh at. That's a good percentage. And especially when the national average is around that 33 to 35% for most carriers on clean inspections. It's 67, we're knocking out of the ballpark, but we're still leaving some out there that we can be getting clean inspections on. Sometimes it's that low hanging fruit. It's that, I don't have my spare logbook, or I don't have my instruction card, or maybe if we're hauling hazmat, your placard's hanging halfway off on the side of your trailer, something like that. That's easy pickings for an enforcement officer to stop you. They see something like that, they're going to stop you, and then they're going to inspect the rest of it and see what else they can find. So, remember, do those pre-trip inspections. Make sure you stay on top of that. If you're hauling placarded loads, use that clear duct tape around them when you put the placards in the placard holder. Get that clear duct tape to go around the edges. Just secure it even better inside that placard holder so you don't miss, you don't lose a placard running down the road or something like that. That'll get you stopped. Always, too, remember, check your lights, your brake lights, your turn signal lights, all the required lamps. That's an easy one as well for an officer. They see you change lanes and you don't turn on your turn signal, or you turn it on and you got one burned out, and we got to stop you. We got to get that corrected. It's make sure you're aware of it, but then we got a violation and we just go down that path. So always check those anytime you stop. I don't care if you're stopping to go to the bathroom or just take a little walk break or whatever it may be, get out, stretch the legs, or you're stopping to get something to eat. Before you take off again, go around, make sure that fifth wheel's hooked up properly, all the lights are working, your headlamps. And if they're not, get it fixed before you take off. So that just to eliminate that violation. But overall, John, I think we did a pretty good job.
Outstanding. So great job again to all of you out there. So, just kind of while we're talking about that and inspections, run over real quick our CSA scores from the month of April. I don't think that we haven't covered those up here the past couple of weeks. So
No, we failed to do that. To be honest with you, we were sitting there and you and I were talking. Neither one of us could remember for sure if we covered it. So we had Jamie Miller in our marketing department go back and actually listen to prior to Friday morning meetings. Sure enough, we didn't cover it. So that's our bad on that. But yeah, our April scores for CSA, we were 76% for unsafe driving. The month before we were 75. So we want to get that lower. The lower the number, the better. So let's keep working on those, speeding issues. And usually, when it comes to speed, John, it's not about running down the interstate above 70 miles an hour because the trucks don't go that fast. It's coming into these small towns or construction areas, which is getting more and more prevalent because we're in the summer now. So we got construction going on about everywhere, and there's more funding being given to the states for construction. So unfortunately, you're going to see a lot more construction nationwide going on. Watch those speed limits because officers like sitting there and they're checking you. And even if you're 1 or 2 miles over the speed limit, they could stop you. So speed limit's the speed limit. If it's 45 or 50, it's 45 or 50, whatever that sign says. So let's stay at it or a little bit below it, and you won't get stopped, and that can lead to another unnecessary inspection. Make sure you wear your seatbelts too as well. I mean, you got them worn properly over the shoulder. It's taut against your chest. Don't have your arm over the loop, something like that, because that's going to get you stopped. Our seat belts are orange, so it gives the officer a pretty easy sight, to see, hey, do you have it on properly or you don't? So wear those at all times because they can save your life. So anything else you want to add to that one, unsafe driving?
No, I mean, the seatbelt and the speeding are, the ones that we probably see that they're the most prevalent. Those are always at the top of our list whenever we get what's our score that way for. So,
Exactly.
and the seatbelt, we'll just reiterate, that's one of the, I feel like we should never get. That's a pretty easy one. And again, it's for your safety. It could save your life, as Dave said.
There you go. So hours of service, we're at 77%, the same as we were the month before in March. Driver fitness, that's where your medical card and all that and your CDL is valid. And when they go through all that, that's 57%, the same as last month. Controlled substance, 6%. So same as last month as well. Maintenance, we dropped to 32 from 33. So did a little bit better job on the maintenance side. Hazmat, we were at 55. In March, we were at 57. So we dropped a couple percentage points there. So let's keep that going as well. And crash, probably the most important, and that's all of our DOT recordables. Even DOT recordables, non-preventables are charged against us. And we're at 62 this past in April and 64 the month before. So we've gotten better on our crash side too. So, and we want to definitely keep that pushing down. So, but yeah, overall, not too bad. We got a couple areas to improve in. We're not perfect. We understand that. And, but with, just so you're aware of those situations and keep in mind when you're going down the road, that's what enforcement's kind of looking at. The hours of service, unsafe driving. That's what they're zeroing in on. When they see a prime, they can pull up those scores real quick on their little laptop, and they can see that too when you're pulling into a scale. Same thing there too. They're watching if you're going to have a fully complete stop at a stop sign, things like that. So be aware of all that, and dot your I's, cross your T's, and you'll be fine out there. Many of our drivers we have zero problems with on those. Obviously, 67% clean rate on inspections this week. It shows you the vast majority do a very good job for us.
Absolutely. We have a lot of drivers that are interested in their CSA score, and they'll call in. Usually the ones that call in that I talk to usually have 0 CSA scores, 0 CSA points. So
yeah, if you have any questions, you want to see your score, just give us a call or stop over here, main floor of the Z building. That's where we're located. Rick's up in Pittston. He can pull them up too, Rick and Shelley. And then out in Salt Lake, Aaron Ward, he can sit down too as well, pull up the CSA scores and show them to you and go over them with you if you've got a concern. But like John says, majority drivers come and see us are concerned about it, which is good because it is your safety record. But the vast majority of the time we've shown that it's always 0. So, but hey, if you got a violation, we'll go over that. Sometimes we forget, and you forget because on a driver, those violations stay on us for 2 years. So you'll see 2 years worth of data on when we're looking at it. So drivers, they stay on the driver for 3 years. So just so you're aware of that too as well. So
talk a little bit more about the truck driving championships we have coming up here. I know Aaron mentioned it a little bit. So
yeah, so next Friday, as you heard, Rick's going to be coming down here. I'm going to be out. I will be down in Branson at the State Truck Driving Championships. We already got a number of our drivers showing up here. We got Glenn and Buddy and and Don Cook sitting over here at the table. They'll be going down to Missouri as well, competing for us in the state truck driving championships. Prime will be sending 15 drivers. So the championships here in Missouri begin Friday morning at 6 a.m. with the written test. And then the drivers get broken up into their classes, and some of them will be driving and doing pre-trips, and the other ones will have the rest of Friday off, and then they'll be driving and doing pre-trips on that Saturday morning. So they'll come back Saturday and finish theirs up. But this year in Missouri, John, we got almost 200 drivers competing down in Branson. It's indoors. Very nice facility down here at the Hilton Convention Center. And we're very proud to have that and be able to have it indoors. Majority of the state championships are all outdoors. Missouri's was for many years, and we spent many years setting up the course on Thursday in the heat and sometimes rain and wind, and every once in a while it get a little chilly out there too. There's a few times we're wearing jeans, so it just depends on the weather. So we're always at the mercy of the weather, Mother Nature. But the last 5 or 6 years or so, we've been able to get down into Branson and be able to have it indoors. And that's because a lot of our vendors that are back there, and all of our vendors, I got to thank them back in the corner. And Terry over here too with Abacus, not to forget her as well. But thank you for you guys' support. This costs a lot of money to hold it indoors. If it wasn't for our vendors that we even have here, many of them are on site here, we wouldn't be able to do this. They spend thousands of dollars for us to be able to have this indoors down in Branson. So big thank you guys and gals for your support. We appreciate you, and Missouri Trucking appreciates you definitely. So yeah, let's give them a round of applause. So, but yeah, out and let's talk about Utah. This year will be the first time we're competing in Utah. I got Stan Kasterke over here. He'll be going out there. One of our Utah drivers that will be competing sitting over here too, Roy Romo. So Roy's competed in Missouri a number of times. Roy's went to nationals too. Yeah, give Roy a round of applause. Great. But Roy will be driving out there, him and his wife, and they'll be heading out there to compete next week as well. So it's great to have them. It's our first year in Utah, and this year we got 6 drivers that'll be competing, and we did have 10 at one point, but some of them withdrew, that personal conflicts with it. So, and that's fine, that happens. And but looking forward to the Utah competition. They have a little bit, I think they're around 100 drivers total competing out there, but good luck to all of our drivers, definitely. We have a question, Keith?
We do. This young lady was asking how you qualify, how you get to participate in those truck driving championships at the state level.
Good question. So come Labor Day weekend, we will have our company picnic. That'll be on that Saturday, but the truck driving competition for Prime will be Friday night. And we host it right out here on our training pad here in Springfield underneath the lights. And we'll have a big barbecue set up. John Blancett and his staff again are out there cooking burgers, dogs, all kinds of food. And we'll set up a course out there. We just do the driving portion here for our company competition. When you go to state, there's actually a written test and a pre-trip you have to do. And it gets a little bit more nerves at state because you got a DOT officer following you around, making sure you're finding all the violations and stuff. But here at Prime, we just do the driving portion, and that's it. So 300 points, there'll be 6 different driving problems. So you may be driving up, and there may be a front stop. We want you to have your front bumper get as close to this line here. And if you're too far back, too far away from it, you get 0 points. If you're over it, you get 0 points. The closer you get, the more points you get. Same thing with right turns, left turns off your steer tire, trailer tire, maybe a backing problem. And we have all different types of ideas, and we put them down, and Stan helps me with that every year, and so blessed to have him. And along with George Niehaus and all of our other training staff, Tom Schumacher, we're out there laying her down the day before, and we get it ready to go. So we're able to host it Friday night, and all the volunteers, John, same thing with you guys. We always have our safety department out there judging and helping out as well. And if it wasn't for our volunteers, we wouldn't be able to do this. A lot of fleet managers, a lot of operations people, different departments volunteer for that, and great having them. And it is a big shindig. It kicks off our picnic the Friday night before, and then the winners get announced at the picnic on Saturday. So, but that's how it works. Go ahead, Keith.
And then anybody that has a CDL can participate.
Correct. Anyone, you have to have a CDL. So if you're a PSD student, you wouldn't be able to participate. But if you got, it doesn't matter, C class, doesn't matter if you had an accident 2 weeks ago or a month ago, or you're accident free. anybody's qualified to do the Prime Truck Driving Championship, just so you have a CDL in hand. So we'd like as many participants as possible. I think last year, Keith, we're up in the low 70s on the numbers. Like this next year, let's get it higher. Yeah.
It was a great time. I mean, the hot dogs, the hamburgers, the families, the kids, the pride and polish was going on out there behind that. So it was just a fantastic event.
Plus the music we got going on too as well. We got music. We got to get sometimes some games get thrown in there for the kids. So if you come into the picnic, a lot of times it's a family event. So on Saturday, but even Friday night can be a family event as well.
And you got
Go
to see
ahead with your
Robert
question.
Lowe
Yes.
drive the truck on the course and score. And he actually did pretty good.
Yeah, he drove it last year. Robert did a good job. So
Make sure you let them know that they got to be accident free for the year to go to NASA, to go to the state though.
that is true.
For the picnic, they don't have to, but for driving.
Yep, Donnie's right over here. If you're gonna qualify, usually what we do is we take the top 15 drivers that qualified our company picnic, but you have to qualify for state, meaning you have to be here at Prime for a minimum of a year. And then you have to also be accident free, no preventables or non-preventables. That'll disqualify you if you have either one. So unfortunately this year we have a great driver named Scott Fisher. He'll be helping out in Salt Lake. Scotty would rather be competing than helping out, but he had somebody do a lane change on him and clipped his trailer, and that was a non-preventable accident, and it disqualified him from this year's competition. So Scott's went to nationals 3 years in a row and has done wonderful, but he'll take this year off, unfortunately. Hopefully next year we get him back. He's one of our main guys, no doubt. So,
Well, let's talk about, we mentioned the 3-day weekend earlier. Let's talk about, what we're getting ready to see over the next 100 days here. And, especially going into this holiday weekend with the increased traffic out there, travelers are going to be out there on the road, including myself. I'll be one of them. So watch out for me. And then, from now through Labor Day, right?
yeah, what do they call it? The 100 deadliest days, I think, starting Memorial Day.
100 deadliest days,
And
yes.
it's not good. It's not a good thing, but it's just time for you all to remember and bring back, hey, kids are out of school. You got a number of younger youth that have never been through driver's ed. 16, 17-year-olds, they don't know how to drive around trucks. I know many of us, we may have had driver's ed, but they've eliminated that out of high schools. Many schools have. So, those situations. So it's time to remember that. Watch for kids. And you go into these small towns out playing ball in their front yard. And if a ball rolls out in the street, chances are they're probably going to go after it. And if you see that, time to slow down and stop if you have to. So keep your eyes moving and watch it, because these are the summertime. People forget, John, and heck, I know I go to the lake, you go to the lake, you go golfing stuff too. Sometimes our minds are set on, hey, I got to get to the course. I got to get out there and meet my buddies. It's not about safe driving. And you lose that focus. Families on vacation, same thing. They're more worried about getting to the destination. And rather than watching that truck, I'm going to change lanes on, I'm just going to try to get there. So, we have to compensate more. All of our drivers do, and stay out of these accidents. And that's what, summertime, that's what you have to remember.
Yeah, just really, we want you to just, remind yourselves with the increased traffic to slow down just a little bit more, increase that following distance just a little bit more, and keep your eyes moving out in front of you so you're alert and aware of what's going on in front of you. Eliminate any distractions within the cab, but slowing down and increasing that following distance will go a long ways with you being safe out there. So,
Yep, good points. So one last thing, let's talk about real quick, having an accident, what not to do. What did we have this past week? We had somebody back up and hit somebody, right? You want to talk about that one?
sure. So we had an example here that hopefully everyone can learn from. We had a driver that was taken off from a stop sign. He accidentally rolled back into the vehicle behind him, caused some minimal damage to the bumper, and didn't call us because they just wanted to, hey, let's just take care of it. It's not a big deal. So essentially our driver gave them some money for the damages, and we went on our way. We weren't aware of it. A couple of months down the road, fast forward, we get an email that says that this person had a passenger in the car and they're claiming that they were injured now, right? So now we've got that. We weren't aware of it. The driver's going to be out whatever money that they agreed to pay to repair the car, and now he's going to have a deductible on top of that. So anytime you're in a situation where, if you hit somebody, if you think you hit somebody, anything like that, any contact was made at all, just give us a call and let's document it. Let's do the right thing. And more than anything, it's going to protect yourself. So that's the most important thing. Protect yourself. Don't put yourself into a situation where a couple of months down the road, it could come back and bite you or haunt you. So.
Yeah, good point. So any questions on safety? Anything you may all have? Comments, concerns?
I'm going to add,
Anything for us? Go ahead,
I'm
John.
going to add a couple of things here. One we've talked about before, just a reminder, if you're picking up or dropping off a student, never park on Glenstone in the middle lane and let the student get out of the truck or get into the truck. So never park there. The best thing to do is to bobtail over from here, pull into the parking lot over there, get them on the truck, come back for the trailer. Don't try to grab your load and pick them up on the way out of town or anything. So that's extremely dangerous. There's construction going on over there right now, and we just can't have that. So, and then the last thing I wanted to talk about is, with the weekend coming up here, is parking on the shoulder. So parking on the shoulder should only be done if it's an absolute emergency broken down on the side of the road. Get to a safer spot if you're wanting to go over your trip plan, if you need to look at directions, if you need to, check your logs, whatever you need to do, don't do it on the side of the road, please. That's always dangerous. And good things never happen whenever we're parked there. So.
And remember too, you got 10 minutes. Within 10 minutes, you have to set your emergency triangles out. So those are getting, the officers are stopping. They see one of our trucks on the shoulder or any truck. They're going to stop and they're going to check it out and see what's going on. And if you say, hey, I've been here about 20 minutes, I'm trying to find something on my map, my routing, my whatever it may be. Yeah, it's a good idea to stop, but that 20 minutes, you got to get your emergency triangles out. So they'll write you on an inspection for that too, a violation. So, if you're mechanically broke down, you got a leaking tire, that's one thing. Definitely you need you to stop and let's get that addressed. But if you do, try to get off the shoulder enough. We've got to watch it on getting over in the grass. You don't want to do that, but get on the shoulder and get those triangles out and set them out there and warn the public of what's going on. Then and get those four-ways on as well. Just once again, notifying what the motorists that you are broken down inside the road.
All right. So we've been up here long enough.
Probably too long, yeah.
I see his eyes are getting heavy, so we better get a speaker up here.
He's ready to go sleep on us.
Who do we got first?
Let's bring up Sean Riker. So Sean's in our permits department, and we're going to go over, once again, I think you covered this a little bit last week, but a little bit of IFTA stickers. So.
Yeah, I did. Thank you for giving me a minute. As he said, my name is Sean Riker. And so last week I was able to talk about IFTA stickers, and really what I talked about was the idea that you got to make sure that you look and see that they're on your tractor all the time. So there's a few different scenarios that could happen. One of them is you ask us to mail it home during renewal season, and we mail it to you. You get home, glad to see the family, holidays, everything. You head out, you don't have them on there yet. So we send fleet messages out to try to remind you guys, yeah, I'm going to remember that. You just don't. So there is a grace period on IFTA stickers to get them on. It's the end of February. We're well past that point now, right? And we're still seeing a lot of violations on it. So I talked about this last week a little bit, thought, man, we're going to get the word out there. And then we proceeded to have one of the worst weeks we've had for IFTA sticker violations. So I want each of you guys to commit doing something for me. I want you to go out to your truck. The first thing you look at is for your IFTA stickers, right? They're green this year. So make sure you have your green 23 IFTA stickers on there. And they go one on each side of your tractor, right? Underneath your bunk there's a plate for them. Make sure there's one on both sides of your tractor. Now, don't get confused. I've seen people put them on the front of their bumper. That doesn't go on there. Your New York Cut sticker goes on your front bumper. Your IFTA stickers, one on each side of your tractor. So any questions about the IFTA stickers? So I mentioned that because IFTA stickers are one thing we can't put on the app. And we've done a good job of trying to give you guys tools with the app to be able to have your cab card on there. Almost all your permits are going to be on your app. So you can go to MyPrime, I think it is, and MyPrime portal and My Permits. And they can pull up almost all of your permits on there to show the officer, but you can't pull up a sticker on there, right, guys? So don't use the app as a crutch and think there's nothing I have to do, because you still have to have IFTA stickers. You still have to have your New York Cut sticker on the front. You still have to have a license plate on the front and on the tractor, right, guys? So if any of those things are missing, say you go out there, everyone I know mentally committed to me, they're going to look at these things when they go out to their truck. So you go out there, everything's fine. But then you take your next load, you forget to do a walk around when you're at a truck stop somewhere, and one of them's fallen off in between there. And these things happen. I mean, I was in our permit department, sat out there for 10 years taking these calls. And I trust you guys when you tell me, man, I did this in the beginning. I didn't do my walk around when I fueled, went inside for a little while, came back out. I didn't do my walk around and noticed that it was missing on there. So if any of those things are missing, guys, don't write on cardboard. Don't put them on anything that's not real. What we can do is call our permits department and get you a temporary that we can fax out to you guys. It's a piece of paper that really proves that that's on order for you guys, a replacement is, and that keeps you legal with a missing item, whether it's your New York cut, whether it's your IFTA stickers, whether it's your license plate for your tractor or your trailer. One other thing I'll mention, if it's for your trailer and you get a temporary for it, leave it in the permit too. It's not gonna do the guy after you any good if it's sitting in your permit book, right guys? The other thing is your permit book. How many of you guys know where your permit book is right now? Man, I was supposed to see everybody's hands. Guys, find a place in there. I recommend you put it in your door. You don't have to. If you're one of the people who runs with your window down and lets it rain in there, don't put it in there, right? But find a place where you guys know where it is. The door is a logical spot for it. But if it doesn't work for you, just make sure you know where it is. So if the officer asks you, you can get to it quickly to show them something they might need in there. Also, know where they're at on your app. I just told you where it was. Get familiar with that too, in case you want to use that method also. I'm going to talk about a couple other things. I told him I was only going to talk about IFTA, but I do want to mention last week I talked about lumpers. And I wanted to go through, I came back to my desk after that. It's kind of ironic. I go back to my desk and I see several instances just randomly throughout the week where we're not really utilizing this the way we should be. So the way it should work is if you get a load that takes your Comdata card, and all of them will take your Comdata card. Let me back up. You can use it to where the money's sitting on your card already. You don't have to call and get an advance for it. There's $800 a day available on your card to run through on locations that accept Comdata card for a Comdata lumper payment option. So that doesn't mean it comes off the personal side of your card. It doesn't mean you call your fleet manager, put money on there and register a com check for it. And it doesn't mean you get an express code. It means that money's on there. You can just swipe your card for it. And that happens at Capstone, RoadSync, and U-Chain locations. So you don't have them memorized. I understand that. So we give you a message that says your load contains stops where the lumper accepts Comdata fuel card. So you know, okay, at least one of them does. And if you only have one drop, that's an easy one. But if you have multiple ones, go ahead and go to the next slide. Look on your app. It tells you load or location by location. It tells you which ones accept Comdata card for what we call a product code payment, where you don't have to do anything extra for it. It's sitting on your card. So it tells you this location accepts the Comdata fuel card payments. And it tells you you don't have to get an advance from your fleet manager. And it tells you that you shouldn't have to get a receipt for it. So now all you've done is you've driven up there. You know I can use my Comdata card. You walk up, give me your card, or they send you a text message, you use your card, whichever way for it. And then you pay it. So within, I'm going to say 10 minutes, probably, give or take, most of the time we receive that receipt from Capstone or RoadSync, whoever, through Comdata to us. And then we send you a message telling you we've received your receipt, so you don't have to send it in. So it's a confirmation for you that the process worked how it's supposed to. Now, there's a chance it may take up to a couple hours or so, but generally this is a really, really fast process for you guys. So you haven't had to call your fleet manager. You haven't had to put money on there. You just use your card when you're there. You get a notice when we receive that receipt. If you don't get a notice within a couple hours that we have that receipt, something went wrong on there. And this doesn't happen very often. They did have a little glitch a couple of weeks ago. We've had almost 72,000 transactions come through this way, and it works very, very good for you guys. One other thing I'll mention, if you are a student, a B or a C seat, and you do not use this method. And I say that because it will charge your card for it, and the reimbursement that automatically happens goes back to the tractor. So you won't get reimbursed for it. So if you're a student, let your lead seat handle this for you. So one other thing, you got a receipt that says, or you got a message that says, we have the receipt. If you still don't trust us, look at your load information. There's the view trip documents piece of that. It will be populated in there. Whenever we get it, you will see the receipt in there also. So any questions about that process? Roy's got a question.
All of that you just spoke about is true. I had no problems with it when they send you a text message. Where I've had a problem is when I go in the Driven app to fill out a com check. It takes it right out of my personal site. It doesn't
The driven side, it only looks at your personal side.
Okay.
So, yeah, so understand that it has nothing to do with the company side of your card. The driven app is the personal side of your card.
So we have to call our fleet manager to have it put on card to do the regular
Yeah,
process.
so Roy, this would be a situation where you didn't get that message.
Right.
And this is going to be what we used to have to do for all of them, right? So they're either going to ask you for an express code so they can fund their check, or some of them will still take a comm check from you. But during COVID, a lot of you handing them a comm check went away because they didn't want that personal touch, right? So you're right. If you use your driven app though, that's what's going to happen. It's going to come off the personal side of your card. So in those situations where it's not Capstone, RoadSync, or U-Chain, you don't get that message, you can still pay with your Comdata card on your personal side. Yeah, you can still get reimbursed the same way. Yes, all that'll happen. I would urge you though not to do that whenever you're doing Capstone, RoadSync, or U-Chain. You can use a personal side of your card. You can get reimbursed. All that works fine. But that express code that you use costs you $255. This transaction, we only charge you 25 cents if you do it through the lumper, Comdata lumper code part of it. So it would save you money and time. And we don't get that electronically if you pay it personally. So it only if you pay through the Comdata side. So any other questions about lumpers? Nope. I'll mention one other thing for you guys, scanning. And that's going to be on the payroll side. So the right time to scan is whenever you empty. Scan it to us immediately. That gives us a chance to get with you if anything goes wrong. Do not wait until Wednesday afternoon. We get 25% of our trips on Wednesday afternoon. Well, on Wednesday, I won't say all afternoon, but it's pretty heavy on the afternoon. I think you guys know how this works. So the important thing for you is if we're right up against cutoff and we're getting thousands of trips in on that time, we may not be able to get back with you quick enough to let you know something's wrong. So give us a chance to help you out. We want to get you paid every week for everything you've done. So let us know or get it to us as quick as you can. Also, if you wait more than 48 hours, you miss out on the bonuses. So like safety and service bonus, if you're company side, fuel bonus, team bonuses, things like that. So there's also a place on your settlement where it shows you if you miss these, it shows you how much you miss each week. Pay attention to those. If you guys don't do that, some of that's some real money for you guys. So I think that's the only things I have. Yeah, but no, I'm not lying. I'm actually done this time unless there's questions. Nope. All right. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Sean.
Good job. Thank you.
A lot of good information there.
Man, no doubt he's a 10. That's why we have him. He's in charge of payroll, Comdata, permits. I mean, Sean covers a number of different areas. Does a great job too. So if you have any questions after the meeting, he'll be over here waiting. So hit him up. So I tell you what, let's switch gears on this. We're not going to really follow our list here because that's already been blowing up. I know you're looking at me going, who are we going to next? Next person I want to bring up here is one of our vendors. So I'd like to ask Andy Bell with Carrier. Andy's way back there in the corner underneath the TV. He'll be coming up here, but Andy's been with us for many years here, working as a vendor, working inside the walls, and really appreciate him and Carrier. And wanted to say a few words. I appreciate you volunteering this morning, Andy. So come on up.
Morning, everybody. My name is Andy Bell. I'm on-site Carrier rep for the Carrier reefer units and APUs. I just wanted to bring up real quick, just kind of a reminder. It's a little bit late in the season for it, but it's still an important thing to bring up. We have several times if you let equipment set, if it's been setting for a couple of days or so, be sure that you're opening up the doors on the reefer units and checking for bird nest and any kind of debris in there. We've had a couple of them in the last couple of weeks where we've actually found bird nest, or we actually had birds in there and they start up, and it doesn't end well for the bird. So most of the time. So just one of those things, just kind of check. And it's a good thing to use even if you go home with the truck and you let the truck set for 3 days. Good thing to check the hood on the same thing. So just make sure you're checking all your equipment and make sure that there's no debris or anything in there. So that's, like I said, I just keep it short and quick, but that's, since we've been seeing it again during the springtime, it happens quite often. So I just want to bring it to everybody's attention. Anybody have any questions? Good. Sure.
So pre-trips just as important on those Carrier units and all reefer units, just as well as on the tractor.
Absolutely.
Sure, no questions for Andy? Oh, man, we're letting him get away free, easy. No? Well, thank you, Andy. Appreciate your help here. What do you got next, man? Do you have any idea?
I don't. I thought earlier I had my list upside down because you jumped around on it so much, but
It may make more sense looking at it upside down.
Could be.
So, yeah, next, let's bring up from our security department, Security Bill. We haven't had him up here and right before a holiday weekend.
Morning, morning.
Morning. Thank you for coming up. Does your mic work okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I'll say good morning to everybody. Hey, a couple of things, I'm up here every week and I'm in the back. And it was amazing. This week I actually learned something from Dave. I didn't realize that it was called 100 deadliest days between Memorial and Labor Day. So, you learn something every day. I would have thought that most accidents would occur in the wintertime. And that's what it would have been the most deadliest, but you learn something every week. So the reason I'm up here is that we are going into Memorial Day weekend. And unfortunately, as you can see in the slide that I've got up here, cargo thefts are going to go up. For the year, we're up almost 40% in cargo thefts. I mean, the trend is just going crazy. And if you look at those 3 states that we have there, California, Texas, and Florida, they account for about 40% of all the thefts that are going on out there. So what does this mean? You're going to want to go home this weekend. You want to go park your trailer someplace, and you want to go see your family. Before you park your trailer someplace, please get with your dispatcher. Please get with security and make sure you're going to a secure place. A Walmart parking lot is not secure. A TA is not secure. A Love's is not secure. We have to make sure we're going into a secure place where we know when we come back on Tuesday to pick up that trailer, it's still there. Now, I will tell you, we have some shippers who we may drop at. You need to check and make sure they're secure because we had one of our trailers stolen not too long ago from a shipper up in Connecticut. We end up catching it right before it went across the border into Mexico because it was stolen off a shipper's lot. So you've got to make sure where you're dropping this stuff. But even if you do have your truck and your trailer together, the other thing you've got to make sure is you've got it locked up, right? We have to make sure we're using our alloy locks. And the reason why we stress the alloy lock is because we've shown over the last 20 plus years of using this lock, it's very hard to defeat. Now, there's probably some people out here who said, man, I hate them. They don't work good. They're stiff. They're hard to use. I'll go out and buy me that cheap master lock and I'm going to throw it on the back of my trailer. And that's great. You can do it. It's a lock. It meets the requirements. But guess what? If it gets cut and the load gets stolen, you're out what, $500? I think that's the deductible for losing freight out of the back of your truck. I think you got to pay the first $500 deductible. Well, if you've got an alloy lock on the back, and you can show you got an alloy lock on the back and everything, that deductible is waived. So that investment of $50 for your alloy lock is really like a $500 deductible you just pay for $50. And you keep using it over and over and over again. Now, we are looking at new locks, new alloy locks. We got a couple of them out in the fleet right now that we're running and testing. And it's, one of the biggest complaints was that the alloy locks would always get gummed up and they were hard to use during the winter months. And so we have a new lock that's either it's got a cap on the bottom of it, so it keeps all the water out, it keeps all the rain out, and it's super easy to open and close. A buddy back here is using one of them right now. I've given it to him, and him and his wife are probably using it, and they can probably tell you it's a lot easier to use than the old ones are. So we're going to be testing those, and as soon as we get the approval from our 3 people on the driver advisory board that they like them, we're going to be changing over to those. So it's pretty exciting, the fact that we are listening to what you guys want and trying to find you guys better solutions for your problems. So once again, when you're going home this weekend, enjoy it. Have a great time. But please secure your freight, secure your tractors, and make sure you have a great time and stay out of any type of trouble.
Hey, Bill, got a quick question for you over here.
Okay.
Tammy wants to know, how do they prove that there was an alloy lock on the trailer if it was cut off?
Great question. Here's what I would do if I was anybody. When I go put that lock on the back of the trailer, I snap a quick picture right on your phone. Just snap a picture. Take the trailer number, the lock, put the seal in there. It's all going to be right there. Put it together. Just save it as time stamped. We know it's there. Now we are looking at a new lock to go with the alloy lock. It's going to be an electronic key where we timestamp every time you used it. But we're going to have to test that out and make sure it's feasible for our fleet, because Grant, we've got probably 7,000, 8,000 people out there with abloy locks. We got to make sure it's applicable. But we're going to be testing that out also. So that's one of the other ways we're going to be actually able to help them. Anybody got any other questions?
Any questions for Bill? Oh, got one back there. Hold on.
He didn't want to ask this, but he's asking if there's going to be some kind of a trade-in policy for the old abloys, for the new
Yeah,
abloys.
great question. It's a $30 trade-in policy. So if you have an old abloy that you want to get a new one, $30 trade-in policy. I think so that leaves you about 20 bucks for the new one, or 23 bucks for a new one. And that's with any other lock. If you got a master lock, a Brinks lock, any type of lock, you want to trade up to an abloy, trade in, you get $30 credit.
Hey, Bill.
Any other
Bill, I
questions
got
for
a question
Bill?
for you.
Oh, go ahead.
Hey, Bill, question is, a driver wants to know what our percentage is as far as Prime's percentage, cargo theft versus national average.
Man, I'll tell you, I can't break that down, but I will tell you, going into this year, we're very, very low as far as percentages go. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of shrinkage because we do have a pretty good driver base that does lock up their trailers. But I will tell you, I think our biggest theft so far this year is about $70,000. But, you know, it's not only the shrinkage, but it's also the pilferage. You know, now with this Food Modernization Act, if one thing's taken off a trailer, they can just chuck the whole entire load because you've broken the seal and they can't sell a product anymore. So there's a lot of tentacles to not locking up and not securing your trailer properly.
Anybody else? All right. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. That's very important going into the holiday weekend here. I know that on the weekly safety staple yesterday we sent out, we talked about this exact same thing. And, you know, if your equipment's idle, if it's parked, make sure you're frequently checking on it. Make sure you're in a secure location. If you are going home, if you're out there listening, if you are going home and your fleet manager hasn't told you where to drop your empty trailer yet, get on the phone with them and make sure that they give you a spot. We definitely don't want to take those home with us.
There you go. And I think we just need to clarify real quick. Bill brought up the $500 deductible. That falls underneath the accident. If you have an accident, there's cargo damage, you can be charged that for $500 on the accident. If it's negligence, let's say you don't lock your trailer and it gets broken into, basically it gets opened up and product gets stolen, you can be held 100% responsible for that product being gone. So do the right thing. Use those abloy locks. You know, as funny as this sounds, I got a little 5x10 trailer I got parked in my backyard. And yeah, there's a little fence around it. If somebody really wanted it, they could come and knock down the fence and take it. But I got a little abloy lock on the tongue, and hopefully that would deter them. And I don't know if it would or not, but that's what I bought down here in the company store. That's what I use, just to keep my little trailer secured. So somebody, hopefully they don't come and steal it. If they do, I'm out $700-800. But you know, it's the whole point. I just don't want anybody taking it. And those locks they're very tough. And I stand behind them for my little trailer, and hopefully you guys are using them too as well. So,
all right, well, let's do a little bit of housekeeping here real
Okay.
quick. So we've mentioned the Prime app. We talk about the Prime app every week. It's an unbelievably great tool for you guys to use out there on the road. If you have any questions about the Prime app and you're in the terminal here, now's your chance to talk with Richard or Brianne over here. They are the experts. If you come by safety, we can look at it and we can help you with it as much as we can, but anything above our heads, we're going to defer to them. So if you have any questions, take advantage of them while they're down here.
also topics, man. If anybody's got any topics you want to hear for safety, anything you want us to talk about, make sure you let us know. Just send us a message. You can send it on to Qualcomm, or I guess it's called OmniTrax. But any you know, you give us a holler. Say, hey, I'd like to listen to this. Let Mitch know. He's our marketing guy over here. Him and Jamie, let them know if you want to hear a certain topic on safety or operations or whatever it may be, maintenance, something's important to you. We'll get that person up here. We'll try to do it the next week. If not, it may be the week after. But love your input on these meetings, because that's what makes them even better. So let's do the veteran real quick. And I'd like to have a special person. I'm going to throw it back up there to Pittston. I got Rick Yarborough up there, and this is a special weekend, and Rick's got some prior military experience. I'd like for him to talk about that and give him the mic for a few minutes. So go ahead, Rick. Are you with us?
I am. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you. I'm a veteran, and I'll tell you here at Prime, we appreciate our veterans every single day. And if we could, any veterans here, any location, Salt Lake City, veterans in Springfield, please stand up and let's show our appreciation real quick for all of our veterans. Appreciate the service that all of you have given. I myself, I retired from the Marine Corps back in 2005, and I've been with Prime since we opened this terminal in 2007. It's been another adventure. I'll tell you one thing I do appreciate about Prime is our teamwork and family atmosphere. It just takes me back to my days in the Marine Corps. It's the same feeling I had then. But speaking of military service, this weekend coming up is Memorial Day. A lot of people get confused about what Memorial Day is. We do appreciate veterans every single day, but Memorial Day is a time, we're going to cook out. The pools are getting open. We're going to have a few beers on Monday, time with family and friends. But Monday, when you're doing this, if you're lucky enough to get home, please just take a minute to remember that Memorial Day is to remember and honor those veterans who paid the ultimate sacrifice to make this country what it is, and to give us the freedom to have those cookouts and have a good life. So that's really all I wanted to point out, is Memorial Day is about remembering those who have gone before us. And thanks for letting me say that, guys.
Thank you, Rick.
All right, thank you very much, Rick. We're going to bring up Jim Guthrie here next. Jim's the head of our operations department.
You used to work with Jim, didn't you?
I did.
You have any
used to
good
work-
stories?
Man, I do have a good story. We were back when we were both fleet managers. I better save it for another time, though.
Don't believe any of those stories. Don't believe it. Only the good ones. Hey, I'm bringing Jeff Chisholm up here with me. Good morning, everybody. I want to talk a little bit about something that's not a lot of fun to talk about, but certainly very, very critical to talk about, and that's our cargo claims and cargo claim prevention. So you all work really, really hard to earn a good living, and it's painful for any of us to see folks lose money with cargo claims. And a lot of this comes down to attention to detail and, kind of following some best practice processes on every load you haul. And the minute that you lose that edge of attention to detail is the minute you're going to have a cargo claim. And I just want to go over a couple that we saw this week, and Jeff, I think, has some input as well. But, a lot of things change with COVID, and there's probably less interaction today between you and receivers, dock workers, warehouses than there was prior to COVID. Back in the day, you may have been on the dock all the time, and now a lot of places won't let you in, won't let you up on the dock, and they also may not even tell you if you've got product left on your trailer. And so, we had a claim this last week where there were 200 plus cases of steaks left on a trailer. The driver wasn't notified, and the driver went and dropped the trailer, turned the reefer off, and didn't check the back of the trailer. So the message here is it's really important after every load to check all the way up to the front of the trailer. That means walking all the way up, shining lights, inspecting this. 200 cases of steaks were worth about $165,000. So, that's a lot of money. That can alter your career, alter your business, obviously, a mistake like that. So, we want to point these out, not to shame anybody or anything, but we want to point them out so that you can learn from these issues and make sure that it never happens to you. Really important, after every load, always to walk up to the front of your trailer, check it, see, first of all, you need to check the trailer for the integrity to see if there's any damage, if it's in good working order, but also for any product that might be left on there. Whenever you get your bills at a shipper, it's really important to scrutinize that bill of lading. Whenever you do your live load call process, we're going to ask you to circle and initial the temperature on the bill of lading. We talked about it before. I'll kind of reiterate again that we don't always know the temperature that the customer is going to require the load to be ran at. And it's important to check that at the shipping location, because once you sign those bills, you're signing those bills as it's your product until you deliver it. So if you sign your bills for 1,000 cases of product, you know, the expectation is that 1,000 cases of product is signed for at the receiver in good condition, in the same condition that it left the shipper. So if there's a temperature excursion and we don't run the temperature correctly based on what's on the bill of lading, that's another area where you could be liable. Jeff, you have some examples or other information to share as it relates to the claims?
Yeah, unfortunately, we do run across those situations where we run the loads at the wrong temperature. It really comes down to just attention to detail. It's always pretty evident too when somebody doesn't check. So I look at their depart call and they'll put in the temp that they saw on their Qualcomm versus what's actually on the bill. So it's pretty evident that the person didn't check. And refrigeration, I mean, that's our biggest priority. We have to run it at the right temp and we need to maintain temp. Just a couple other details that I want to hit on. Sometimes there's a misconception about reporting claims. And I talk to a lot of drivers who think that they only need to report refused product. We need you to report every OS&D on that bill of lading. And we have customers that have specific language in our contract where if we don't report the claim, we are liable for it. And that, you know, whether it's a shipper load and count load, sealed trailer, it's a driver count load, if you see any discrepancy on that bill of lading, we have to contact our customers. And, you know, I'm just going to give you a few examples here. This is not to point out specific customers or say it's a bad customer. It's just basically customers who focus more on this area and file claims. And the first one I want to address is Hershey. We pick up a lot of these loads that are preloaded, shipper load and count, sealed. We have no idea what's on the trailer. When you deliver the load, if you see any overage, shortage, or damage, you have to contact us. And we have to report it to Hershey. And we simply report the issue, give Hershey the opportunity to call that receiver and check, and we're free and clear. Otherwise, we're responsible for whatever overage, shortage, or damage that's on that load. I see issues with Tyson, a lot about missing bills. So please make sure that you get every single bill back from the receiver and that you scan everything into us. Tyson Fresh Beef, IBP, we're seeing a lot of shortage claims on those. And it's kind of like the temperature issue. We'll get a shortage claim. It has not been reported to us. I look at the depart receiver macro and it says no OS&D. So, you know, really look at those bills closely. Verify the count. Sometimes they'll just put, you know, if there's 1,000 cases shipped, they'll put 995 received. They don't say anything, but they have signed short. And I also see a lot on these meat loads where they'll have all the products listed and they'll mark out one product and change the count. They're indicating a shortage, but they're not making it very evident to you. It's something that you really need to look at closely, or you're going to miss that. And if you will just report those issues to us, we'll report it to our customer. And in most cases, we can get ourselves out of a claim. And even if we fail to keep a seal record, a lot of times when we know about it right then, we can look at our STAR tracks, we can look at our door sensors, and not only do we report the claim, we say, well, you know, the receiver wouldn't sign for the seal, but here's our data that shows the doors were closed the entire time it was in transport. And those are the things if we address up front, we can do to try to help you prevent a claim and, you know, not unnecessarily waste dollars.
I think, you know, it's a good point to talk about these shortages. In addition, you know, the bill of lading, you have to scrutinize that bill of lading. Some of these are multiple pages and it can be a little bit confusing, but you've got to almost inspect every line to make sure that there wasn't something marked out as it relates to a shortage, you know, or a damage or whatever. So even if there's not product left on your trailer, going through those bills really closely to make sure we document and report any kind of shortage is another way, you know, way to prevent a big loss happening to your business.
Yes.
And a lot of these receivers nowadays have stamps that, really are not very clear. It's not very evident that there may be a shortage. It may be in very small writing or very small print. So, these are just some tips to protect yourself and protect your business so that you don't suffer one of these big losses, because that's devastating.
You might mention Costco too.
Yeah, some of the big box stores are really into the stamps nowadays. So I saw a bill of lading this week where on a 8.5 by 11 page, a standard piece of paper, the stamp was probably, just a minuscule little area here at the very back of the bill of lading. And if you didn't go through and read every line of that, you wouldn't have noticed that they indicated there were 100 fewer cases short than what they received, or what they received was 100 cases less than what was shipped. And so luckily on that one, the driver did catch it and we were able to notify the customer, but it would be very easy not to catch it. So it's very important to scrutinize the bill of lading at the shipper and at the receiver. Both they become, it's becoming more and more complex. Like I said, there's less interaction with some of these warehouses and the people that are doing the actual unloading of the trailer. So it's really important to follow these steps to protect your business. If you have questions, your fleet manager can always help. Jeff and his team in claims, always available as well. Always ask a question, call. It's better to be safe than sorry. Okay, that's all I've got this morning. Appreciate what everybody does. Everybody have a great Memorial Day weekend.
We got a
Question, sorry, go ahead.
Jeff, I know you said Hershey, okay?
Yes.
But what if it's preloaded when you pick it up and when you get to the other Hershey plant and it's a drop and hook? How would that claim work then?
If it's Hershey to Hershey and it's drop and hook, we just need to get our seal sign intact and then we're protected. Obviously, if we drop and hook, there's nothing for you to, have noted. Just get the bill signed, have them note the seal is intact and we're covered. It's primarily these Hershey's going to, the outside customers where we're having the problem. And, they have a lot of issues as far as counting and loading these trailers.
And in that case, they would have signed your bills still intact when you dropped the trailer. So there wouldn't have been any discrepancy on the piece count.
And on my other question is, when you said the driver didn't know that he dropped the trailer with other product on it, couldn't he see it when he shut the doors?
You would think, but sometimes people forget. Everybody can be having a bad day, busy day. They may be rushing him out of there. Hey, get out of here. Didn't tell him. Some places now, they, as they close the doors inside the dock. The doors open inside the dock, and you may not even see it, but you still got to pull out, get up in the trailer and inspect it. Sometimes it's dark. Sometimes it's cold, it's hard, I know, but it's really important because there's not much that we haul today that's not worth at least $100,000. Everything, inflation's way up, products cost a lot more. It's really important to think about what the product is that you're hauling. If it's cheese and yogurt, it's definitely not going to be a dry load. It's going to be a temperature controlled load. If it's produce, we're coming into summer where it's really important to make sure we're watching the temperature of these trailers every hour, to make sure that there's no excursion en route, in transit, and protecting the product. So it can happen to anyone, even the best person out there, it can happen to. So that's why we want to share this information and make sure we try to get this out so everybody knows some of the steps they can take to prevent this from happening to you. Another question?
But what if whenever they put the stamp on there, they sign it and initial it for the seal, but underneath it, it says pending count. Are we still liable for that?
Our position on loads like that is when you deliver the load, they have the opportunity to count it. If they write seal intact and they choose not to and put subject to count later, we would not honor a claim on that.
Okay, Dennis is waving me off here. I think we've gone a little bit over time. So again, everybody have a great holiday weekend. Appreciate what everybody does. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Yeah, we were pressing up against time, so I don't want to take away time from our final speaker. I just want to say Good morning, everybody. My name is Dennis Davis. I work in the safety department. We're glad to have folks that are here at our terminals. Welcome home. We're glad to have you here. Our new folks, we want to echo the sentiments from earlier. Welcome to the family. You know, you're the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme. Thank you for being here with us. You know, a lot of great information was shared. You know, we talked about, you know, the compliance of safety of you, the driver, and your equipment. We talked about protecting the product. We even, you know, mentioned a little bit about making sure that you are healthy and fit. We gave a honor to our veterans and our folks that gave the ultimate sacrifice. What a great meeting that covered a ton of things this morning. We appreciate what you do. Be safe this weekend. Do the right thing as it pertains to protecting your equipment. The fleet manager inside of me are going to have a lot of conversations with folks going home today. Drop your equipment ready to use. Ready to use means in good working condition, full of fuel. Make sure that it's washed out. And washed out and clean are two different things. Just ask my son. He thinks his room is clean. It's not. All right. Washed out and clean. Washed out, you have a receipt to prove what you did. You get that trailer washed out, they'll find that 200 and whatever cases in the back if you neglected to walk the trailer. Just some little things that I'm sure fleet managers right now are having conversations with their drivers. So I won't belabor the point. Thank you so much for what you do. Thank you so much for being here with us. I want to introduce our final speaker, our CEO and president, Mr. Robert Lowe.
Well, you introduced me. We didn't leave me any time, Dennis. My goodness gracious, these folks can talk. But it's good stuff. It's good stuff. I'll be brief. The reason we go over these issues is because, as everyone's aware, the economy is a little bit slower. You know, we're fighting and scratching for every load, right? So we're maybe deadheading a little bit further to get it or waiting a little bit longer to get it. So that affects income. So really, folks, I mean, I hate to ask more of you because you do such a hell of a good job, but we got to dig a little bit. We got to do everything just perfectly. Everything else has got to, we can't control the economy. That's not your fault. It's not even my fault. We just have to do the best we can with our fuel, with accident and claim prevention, these shortages and overages and the other things that can happen to us out there. We got to be just damn near perfect. And it's tough. It's asking a lot. I mean, read this little bitty print, you know, down on the last page of these multiple bills. I mean, that's asking a lot, but that's the task we have at hand. That's the reality nowadays. So that's what we're going to do. Welcome to our new folks. You made a good choice. You're with a good company, and we appreciate you and we respect you. And we're hoping for the very, very best future for each of you. God bless you. Please be safe. Shake that hand right there.